Let's be honest, Chad. We know why Kamala is where she is.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Right. It's as simple as that. They're using soft words like misinformation and disinformation, and we just need to protect the public. They're literally throwing pro-life protesters in prison for praying. That's a thing that they're doing right now. Why would they not take all of your First Amendment rights away? They are already chipping away at it now.
It's going to be like when the Me Too movement quit because they gave Woman of the Year to Bruce Jenner. I mean, they're like, this is some bullshit, man.
This is what they do with these idiots. They know that they're mentally ill. They know that they are very quick they can't critically think. They know that these are the vulnerable people. And so what they do is they scare these people. They radicalize them into thinking all sorts of things. It's the same thing that they did with climate change.
Why would Donald Trump end the world when he fully intends to have a love child with Laura Loomer? Love child, never meant to be.
Kidding, Laura.
Love child. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the show. Let's get right into it. Sara Gonzales, what's up?
What is up? Hi. How are you?
I love this intro. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, you're bringing me in right now. Okay,
right
here
now.
we go.
This is the way I want it, Sarah. This is our relationship, and I think people should see it for what it is. Impromptu, unscripted, tear down the fourth wall. Let's get right to it. First of all, do you tell people on your wildly popular Sara Gonzales, unfiltered program on the Blaze, do you tell your people to go and hit the reaction buttons, or not the reaction buttons, the rating buttons, and leave you a review? Do they do it?
I do. Yeah, for the most part, they do. I also tell them if they're watching on YouTube to, I know Tim Pool likes to say, smash the like button. And I say you can also gently tap the like button because we all appreciate a gentle tapping every once in a while.
I had Jeremy Slate on the program last month, and he kept saying, smash the like button. No, I was on his show, and he kept saying, smash the like button. And so since then, I was like, you know what? I want to be like Jeremy and Tim Pool. So a few times I've said smash the like button, but I just want to go on as a disclaimer and say that unlike anyone else out there, I've never received funds from Russian entities, okay? Knowingly or unknowingly. Have you, Sarah?
Yeah,
Have you as a
No,
I
haven't. No, I haven't. But I would just say, yes, as a conservative media personality, I haven't. But I mean, damn.
Have you been accused of it?
Maybe someone should ask.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to have the opportunity to turn it down.
Right.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Lauren Chin, who we've known for a long time, allegedly received monies from a foreign entity to, correct me where I'm wrong, Sarah, begin and operate Tenet Media. And they had a number of different podcast and show hosts that were a part of that. Apparently, it came from some Russian entities. So she received monies from
Russia.
From Russia. And they're trying to figure out who knew what and who whatever, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you can go look that story up on. It's a shocker, I tell you.
It really is. It really is.
Because
for people who know her.
Yes, it is. And I've always admired Lauren's voice and work and considered her a friend. This will get me thrown in the gulag for saying that, but is what it is.
Yeah, me too. Hey, can you hear my dog whining in the background?
Nah, don't worry about the dog.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about her at all.
Sarah, this is our show today. Show today. Now, I want to ask you this before we get into our topic, because it's going to get wild and woolly today, all right?
Uh-oh.
Or it could be tonight whenever people are choosing to listen to this show. My question is, well, I have a couple of questions. One, have you ever gone over to betonline.ag and looked at the politics section?
No.
Okay. I want to encourage you to do it. I want to encourage everybody to do it because screw the polls. Go to see where the Vegas odds are. If you go to betonline.ag, not .com, it's .ag. You go over there and you go to their little menu. It scrolls down and you can bet on politics. Now, I'm going to read a couple of these to you, Sarah. You won't believe the things that you can bet on. And I want to get your take on this, okay? This is pretty wild here. You can bet You can do whatever you want to call it, prop bets or whatever on, do you know what a prop bet is?
I don't. I am so unfamiliar with
You're a football
anything betting.
girl. You're a football girl, but so a prop
I don't
bet.
bet.
I know you don't. But you're a football girl.
Yes.
Because you and I discuss football all the time. But a prop bet is like, let's say, Kansas City's playing New Orleans. And you can bet on the game. But then you can say, all right, well, I want to bet that Derek Mahomes, or what's his name? Is that Patrick Mahomes? I know about betting, not their names. Patrick Mahomes. I don't know where Derek came from. Scary. Patrick Mahomes, he's going to throw for over 330 yards. All right. You bet that he's going to throw for that. That's considered a prop bet. It's a proposition bet. So there's a bunch of little prop bets. Like you can bet on the election here, who's going to win it and stuff like that. But then there's some prop bets like the Biden specials. You ready for these?
Okay. Yeah.
Like you can bet on what Biden's approval rating will be on November 1st, and they give you options. It starts at 42%, and then it goes down to 38%. Like that's how bad it is. Out of 6 options, the highest they think he might have is 42%. There's another bet. You can bet whether or not Hunter Biden will serve jail time before 2025. There is the huge odds on favorite is that he will not.
Yeah.
They've got will they pardon Sam Bankman-Fried? Huge favorability that they will not pardon him. And then
They can't.
They can't. And so then there's the pardon. Will they pardon Hunter Biden? The no is a favorite on that. So that's interesting.
Oh.
But I want to get over to this because this is saucy. You could do prop bets on all kind of things. You could do the governor races. You could do your representatives, the balance of power stuff, the state margins. The Trump specials are what I want to read to you. And this will piss some people off because I don't know if a lot of people know about this rumor. But there's a lot of bets in here about Donald Trump and Laura Loomer. So, have you followed that story at all?
I tried not to, and then you texted me about it, and I was like, what? I could have gone my whole life not having that image.
Now, listen, saying the name Laura Loomer out loud is sort of like saying Beetlejuice 3 times because I'm afraid she's going to show up in my life, right? Yeah. I am nothing, Laura. I am no one. Don't you worry about me. We're just having fun, okay? We've been around Laura a number of times.
I respect her work.
I respect her work. She does.
She is a hustler.
She goes after it. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. But the speculation has been because I've heard Trump give her shout outs in speeches when it didn't make any sense to give her shout outs. Okay. And then pictures started emerging of them kind of holding one another in pictures, very close friends. Sarah, you and I are as close as a man and a woman can be and keep it completely platonic. There's no spark between you and me in that regards, regardless of what people have accused us of. But we're about as close as we can be. And you and I have never, I don't think, ever taken a picture quite like they do. It's close. So the speculation has come out that they might be in a little thingy thing.
A thingy thing. Is that the professional term?
I'm going to keep the Loomer off of me and say a thingy thing. Now, I don't know, but knowing Trump's past history, another woman comes along and the one he's got tends to get on the back burner. And then you see the stuff that's happened here recently. Like, I've wondered if Melania's had it. Like, I've never gotten the romantic read between them. Now, I don't know what a woman's intuition would say. And people will get mad at me for saying that. Has she been supportive? Yeah. But when she came out with the pro-choice video the other day, I was like, what is this? And what a horrible time to come out with that, which I will also say, not Barbara, but what the other Bush?
It wasn't Barbara Bush?
George W.'s wife.
That's Oh, no, that's not Barbara.
That's
God, shoot. Oh my gosh, what is her name?
I know. Look at us just drawing that blank. But isn't she? She's the one who came out also pro-choice. Was it her?
Traitor. That's what her name is.
What?
Yeah, I think it was. I just called her Traitor.
Traitor Bush.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna drive me nuts. George W. Bush wife.
Watch it.
Laura. Oh, Laura.
That was so funny. That reaction was great. But she came out pro-choice with that whole thing. But Melania came out with that video and did that, and I thought, well, that's kind of wild. That's an interesting time, you know, a month before the election to come out with that. Mm-hmm. But they have a couple of bets here. The Trump/Loomer relationship claimed by either by December 31st.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So if you bet on this website and you end up being correct, you're actually receiving money.
Yeah.
Come January, because you have until December 31st.
Yeah,
and so if evidence surfaces, you just get money.
So will either of them claim to be in a relationship? Now, the overwhelming odds there are, it's kind of 50-50. But the odds favored is that no, that won't happen. There's another one.
Of course not.
There's another one. Trump Loomer baby before 2026.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's an overwhelming no.
Ridiculous.
A Trump Loomer engagement before 2026. That's an overwhelming no. Donald and Melania to divorce.
No, that's never happening.
No. Then it says there's 6 picks on who could have a romantic sexual relationship with Trump. Do you want me to read the names?
I mean,
these are just dumb. These are just dumb. Well, the favorite is Laura.
Okay.
What's funny is we're talking about Laura Loomer and we couldn't think of Laura Bush.
I know.
The next is Alina Habba, who of course is his defense attorney.
Oh yeah, she's beautiful. Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, who by all inclination seems to be very in love with our friend Brian Glenn.
Yes.
Anna Paulina Luna.
Oh, she's also beautiful. Yes.
She was a Maxim model.
She was, but also for reference, is married with a child. So. I know that doesn't matter in Washington, D.C. these days.
I've overcome that hurdle.
That doesn't matter. I'm just gonna.
So has Trump.
Yeah. Well, right. I just thought that I would point that out for reference.
I don't think Trump's ever gotten with a woman that had a baby. Megyn Kelly.
Oh, come on.
I know. She loves me. Oh, and the one final on the list loves me too, our friend Lauren Boebert.
She does love you.
But that's in the order. I thought about calling Lauren and being like, let's throw caution to the wind. Let's just see what's there. Let's just see what we could do together. I got a feeling I couldn't keep up with that little fire plug though.
Firecracker, yeah.
Yeah, she is something, dude.
She is.
She is something. Anyway, but I thought that was interesting. BetOnline.ag. People should go over there for entertainment purposes, and to lose a little money on blackjack. I've done it. Well,
it's funny. You should ask them if they want to be a sponsor of the show. You just plugged their website. I mean, I want to go now, and I don't even like betting.
Well, I will tell you. You know me. I do love my folks over at betonline.ag. Hey guys, let's take a break in the show real quick. I want to tell you about my friends over at United Patriot Supply. I'm a gun guy. I love my firearms. I love stockpiling my ammunition. I've got all the stuff out there, but sometimes you run into some things that are a little bit hard to find. That's when I turn to my good buddies over at UnitedPatriotSupply.com. They're not only my friends, they're partners with this show, and I'm proud to know them because they deliver. And let me tell you, When I say they deliver, if there's stuff out there you're looking for and you're having a hard time finding it, I guarantee you there's a very good chance they're going to have what you're looking for. So go out there and check them out, UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Right now, they got a deal going. When you buy a firearm, you can get up to 5 ounces of free silver with every order. So they got a silver incentive program because United Patriot Supply, they're also United Patriot Coin, and you've heard us talk about them as well. So you buy a firearm, you get silver with it. You get a free ounce of silver for every $500 you spend on guns. That's up to 5 free ounces. So you buy a $2,500 gun, guess what? You're going to get 5 pieces of silver. That's a pretty cool deal. So check it out. It's a combined promotion between United Patriot Supply and United Patriot Coin. And just get over there and get to know those guys. I tell you, you're going to love them, and they're going to be a regular stop and shop for you. So head over to UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Well, let's see. We're almost at election time. Now, I'm taking the high road. I've been posting the 30 days of prayer. I've been writing a prayer every morning at 5 a.m. And I know you're praying out loud. I know, Sarah, you're getting down in a position of supplication, and you are repeating my word, aren't you? Are you? Are you
Absolutely.
Are you listening to my guided prayer direction?
You have no proof otherwise. So yes.
I don't. But you know what? Sometimes people that don't pray lie. So I don't know what you might be doing, Sarah. The Sarah without the H, which, by the way, is the removal of God from the name. But it is. Because Sarai in the Old Testament, Abraham's wife, when God confronted her, he changed her name to Sarah. He put the Yah in Ah, and she became Sarah, which means God was now in her name. So, I mean, you could keep dropping the H like a pagan, Sarah.
Well, you'll have to take it up with my paternal grandmother because that was her name.
I don't know. I would never spell it any other way. Well, who needs that extra H, even if it does exclude the Lord?
Now I feel terrible about that.
Just a tiny little eternal tidbit that you decided to leave off of your name. But that's okay. Hey, here's what I want to know, Sarah. Sarah, I should say. Let's paint some scenarios here. Okay, let's say, and I shudder, Kamala Harris wins the election. She's placed, she's selected, whatever. First of all, did you watch the 60 Minutes interview? That or pieces of it, at least. I didn't watch all of it. I watched the pieces.
Yeah, I watched the pieces as well. And boy, there were some real doozies.
What do you think about that? Like, do you think, I can't think of that reporter's name or that interviewer's name, but
I don't know it either. To be honest, I had never seen him before.
Me either. I didn't know, but kudos to him for pushing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he called her on her BS when she didn't answer the questions. He said, what I asked you was. So I thought that was profound. And you could literally see her skin that covers her skull start to split and the horns emerge. She was not happy about that.
So mad. Well, because, I mean, you think about how spoiled leftists are. They never have to answer to the mainstream media because they're one and the same. So I think that they get so arrogant that it really gets under their skin when they have a true journalist, or at least someone who pushes back in any sense. They're like, wait a second. Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be one of mine. Why are you doing this? And you can tell, because Joe Biden gets agitated like that too anytime they ask him anything.
I ran for office. And while most people didn't take it seriously, I did.
You did.
And I got asked a lot of questions. You could ask a lot of questions. I mean, you do a lot of interviews. I'm reasonably good at being prepared to answer what I think people might ask me. What do you chalk that up to when she just doesn't answer the question?
I think mostly just lacking 2 brain cells to rub together. I just think she's really dumb, which really says a lot about how easy it must be to pass the bar and become an attorney, because you've got her, you've got Fannie Willis, you've got,
Fawny.
These Fawny. Yeah, she's not fancy enough for me to call her Fawny.
Make sure you say Fawny and Kamala.
Kamala. I'm going to call her Cammy.
Cammy.
you have these, these people, these women who have graduated from this, what was it, Howard University, and go
Mm.
on to become a lawyer, and they just seemingly are really stupid, and it just makes you wonder. Boy, I guess we've been doing this DEI thing for a while in our
Yeah,
institutions.
they used to call it affirmative action. Now it's
Yeah,
just now they still have it. They outlawed affirmative action, but they just do it in another way.
right.
But I will remind everyone, because you bring up an excellent point there, Sarah. She failed the bar exam the first time when 86% of her classmates, and I can't think of the name of the law school she went to. I know she went to the school, but the name of the school she went to, 86%, I want to say it was like the Rankins, whatever, I don't know. But the 86% passed and she did not. So that tells me that she was
University
not.
of California.
Is that where it was? It was a
That's what
school
it
in
says
the
here.
it was a school in the University of California, like
Yes,
the
yeah, Hastings College of the
Hastings.
Law.
I don't
Yeah,
know where Rankin
yeah.
was coming from, but Hastings. But so she's not bright. The attorney general race that she won in California was one of the closest races in the history of California elections. And then as a senator, she was a part of 164 bills, and not a single one of them ever passed. So have you seen the book out there, The Accomplishments of Kamala Harris? They have
Yes.
it at the Walmart. And it's all empty pages, which is fantastic to me. Like, I would
Yeah.
never spend the money to just bind empty pages, but our buddy Michael Knowles did that, about the liberals, what you can know from a liberal. And it was a
Right.
bestseller. It was a bestseller.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, he actually retweeted the video of that book and said, "Someone's gonna be hearing a call from my lawyer." Like, "I came up with that
It
first."
was my idea. Um,
Yeah.
but
I mean, let's be honest, Chad. We know why Kamala is where she is.
yeah.
It's very clear. Right. It's as simple as that. She's not smart. She's
No.
not good at this. It would be different if she were not bright, but at least was quick on her feet when she's speaking in interviews
Like
and
me.
during, debates.
Like
You're actually
me.
very smart.
I'm not
No, you're
bright,
actually
but
very
I'm quick on my
you
feet.
are.
I can
You are
bullshit.
both.
I can bullshit with
Yeah,
the
you
best. The
well, right. I mean, that seems to be a necessity when you're a politician, and seemingly
yeah.
she's just gotten away with just being really bad at it.
Well, my thing is my question. My question there, because I said, well, why does she do it? Does she? Because I could see where there could be two difficulties. One, like you say, she doesn't have two brain cells to rub together. There's no synapses firing. And I do lend to that. And then there's the other scenario where she knows what she really believes, but she's trying to say something she doesn't believe. And because there's no conviction there, she doesn't know how to say it. So when he asked her, okay, you were against fracking. Now you're for it. You were against. You were for Medicare for all. Now you're against it. You were against a border security. Now you're for it. And she says, "Well, I've traveled all over and I've talked to people and I've found a consensus." No, you don't. You don't believe those things. You just
Mm-mm.
what? You found a consensus in the last 3 weeks since you've been the candidate.
Right.
That doesn't line up to me. So let's say she gets placed in office. First of all, what happens? What happens to America? How do people react if on January 6th we look at it and overnight she has gotten 81 million votes?
November 6th.
That's whatever I said.
Um,
November
uh,
6th, day after the election.
well, the difficulty in that, Chad, is that I don't think very many, not just Republicans, but very many Americans left who have faith in our election system. So, first of all, I think that if she receives 81 million votes, let's say, I think that there's going to be a lot of doubt, and there's going to be a lot of Americans who are like,
Yeah.
I don't trust that. I know, we heard all of these reports last go around of mail-in ballots, stuffing the mail-in ballot boxes. We saw video evidence of that.
Yeah.
You had all of these mysterious overnight, oh, a pipe burst and it turns out we have to close. Oh, and by the way, we have to cover the windows so you can't see what's going on. But
Right.
don't worry, there's nothing weird happening here. And so I just think that there are a lot of voters out there who don't even trust that the system is not going to be rigged. In many different ways. And so I just think that there are going to be a lot of people who don't believe it. But I think aside from that, there's going to be a lot of dread and a lot of depression. But I don't think it's not like our side is going to go out and riot.
You don't think so?
That's just not our way. No, that's not our way. And so I don't think that it's going to rise to that level. But I do think that look, our spirits are going to be crushed if Kamala wins. I'm not going to lie, especially those of us who, we're living in this country right now with children growing up and having to navigate that with them, knowing what Kamala and Joe have done in just 3.5 short years and realizing, holy crap, they're going to have the opportunity to double and triple down on the damage that they've already done to us. It's going to be really devastating for people, I think.
Yeah. Hey, Shy, hit that clock right there where it'll come back on. The next thing, Elon Musk has said that if she gets elected, it will be the last election that we ever have in the United States. I don't know if I believe that. What do you think?
Yeah. I wouldn't be so quick to say that, but I mean, I would say it gets a lot more difficult to find a path out of all of this.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like every election, it just kind of caves in on us a little bit more. And eventually, I do think that I agree with him in the sense that we are nearing the point of no return.
Mhm.
Now, whether or not that is this election, I'm not totally sold on, but it does become much harder to pull ourselves out of this mess. I mean, you're talking about the massive amounts of illegal immigrants that they have let flood into our country. Think about how many more can join us, Chad. And so then it's like, how do you undo that damage? How do you undo the economic damage that just that one issue is wreaking havoc on our economy? It becomes much harder to undo all of this damage that we're talking about, because we're already talking about decades of damage that we are going to have to undo. It's going to take a really long time just with that particular issue. Then you factor in all of the other issues plaguing our country. It's going to take a long time. And so the more time that this regime gets in power and in office, the further from, righting the wrong and course correcting we become. And eventually we are going to get to the point of no return.
So there is, I'm moving to Costa Rica. So problem solved.
Are you? Okay.
I think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's take, I'll take you with me, Sarah. You and Steven can go.
Okay, good.
It's going to be weird with your kids. But yeah, the thing about it is, first of all, I think that if she gets 81 million votes, people are going to go, oh, this is some bullshit. I mean, it's going to be like
no one's going to believe that.
No, it's going to be like when the Me Too movement quit because they gave Woman of the Year to Bruce Jenner. I mean, they're like, this is some bullshit, man. Like after a while, they're like, this is dumb. Why are we participating in any of this crap, They'll just fold up and go home. And people will have skepticism, cynicism, anger, and apathy, and they'll just be done with the whole damn thing. So in that regard, yeah, it might be the last election because people will be like, why vote? Why vote?
Right.
Because for the last 3.5 years, I have just said, hey, get everybody you can, show up to the poll, make it too big to rig, let's overwhelm the algorithm, turn the knob up to 11, and let's rock and roll. Let's go. And but if she comes back with 81 million votes, I mean, Donald Trump in 2020 got the most, especially for an incumbent. That's the most Republican votes ever in the history of a presidential election. They projected 65 million. He got 75 or whatever it was, 73 million. And then Joe pops off with, there's no way. Because again, no. I want to hear what you got to say, but I think every time Kamala does an interview, she loses voters.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, and that's what I said whenever she first became the person, the candidate, when they decided that democracy actually wasn't anything that they cared about, and she received not a single vote, and all of a sudden became the candidate. Her polling was high, and everyone was like, "Uh-oh." And I said, hold on, Just give it some time. She's still got to debate. She's still got to do mainstream media interviews.
Yeah.
She can't go through this entire thing not speaking to the press, which is what she did, at the beginning. And every single time she goes out and speaks to the press, people are going to be reminded of how dumb she is, and her polling is not going to stay that high. And so I think that that's what you've seen happen. I will also note too, talking about voter turnout. Scott Pressler has been just doing incredible work in those swing states. And if you believe the numbers that he is telling us, I mean, Republican registering people to vote Republican is like they are outnumbering Democrats in a lot of these swing states.
Yeah.
So now whether or not they show up at the polls is another thing. But if all of those people who are registering as Republicans to vote in these elections in those swing states, if all of them show up to vote and we're outnumbering the Democrats, there would be no reason why we would lose.
Scott Pressler is something special. Back before Scott Pressler was Scott Pressler, in the first season of the Chad Prather Show, which was 9 years ago. God. 9 years ago, I had Scott on, and it was audio only. And he goes, I can't believe I fixed my hair, and it's not video. And I literally felt bad. I felt bad because he and we had only communicated, we'd never really talked. That was our first time ever talking. I felt bad. I was like, I want to see your hair.
He has glorious hair, actually.
Glorious hair. I not so much. But no, he's doing a phenomenal job. And I mean, he's spending a ton of time in Pennsylvania, particularly Amish country. So I just love the fact that you're going to hear those little buggies coming to the polling place with a clop, 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 with the horseshoes coming. And
have you seen the videos of the buggies with the Trump flags?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so
right?
Epic.
What world are we living in? What world are we living in? So, to that point, the numbers could be overwhelming. I just think that. First of all, we saw this administration's response to Hurricane Helene and blah, blah, blah. I can't imagine these people trying to manage World War III. And so if their response and their empathy is that slack, then they don't care about us. But, there's something that they do. There's no one out there who thinks negatively about Donald Trump on Trump's face value, okay? Everybody always loved Trump. He was just entertaining, right? He was on Saturday Night Live. I mean, I don't know how people that knew him personally felt, but as a celebrity, everybody's like, yeah, it's just Donald Trump. He's quirky, he's weird, he's wild, he's rich, blah, blah, blah. But then they started the brainwashing campaign. And I see them doing that now leading into this election. So John Kerry came out in a speech last week, and he said that the First Amendment is getting in the way of fighting disinformation. And then Hillary Clinton came out and basically said some of the same things. So they've been doing this. Even Tim Walz a few weeks back, a month or so ago, made the comment that when it comes to misinformation and hate speech, the First Amendment needs to be fixed. So that's my phrase. That's basically what he said. Right. So they're already priming the pump for what they intend to do to throttle your liberties. And again, it's not we're going to take your free speech. We're fighting disinformation. We're fighting hate speech and misinformation. So when you see things like that, you already see what a Harris administration will do.
Yeah.
Do you see that as the brainwashing process where people just go, oh, they've just accepted a whole new language and rhetoric and vocabulary, and they're going to be willing to go along with this stuff?
Yes. I mean, the left, yes. I think conservatives, I think just inherently we're more of critical thinkers, so we can see where that leads. And I mean, I'm not even saying that to be rude. It just seems to be true. And so, yeah. And so I do think that there are going to be a lot of them. Look, the left for a very long time has used language to brainwash people. They have, called certain bills different names. How about the Inflation Reduction Act that was all about climate change and environmentalism and in green energy? I mean, they use all of this language to try to gain the public's, favor, knowing that it is not in some cases, the exact opposite of what they're saying that it is. And so this, of course, is one of those times. And so when they tell the public, oh, well, we need restrictions on misinformation and disinformation, it becomes very dangerous. And I will say, thank God that Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Yeah.
That ended up being, in hindsight, I'm sure he's like, whew, I was thinking about it. I wasn't sure. And I'm so glad that I made that decision. But I don't know if you saw, he had an interview with Tucker the other day,
Yeah.
and they were talking about if Kamala wins. And he was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
going to jail.
they're gonna send me to prison. And I think that that's the important part of this, is that, they're using soft words like misinformation and disinformation, and we just need to protect the public. They're literally throwing pro-life protesters in prison for praying. That's
Yeah.
a thing that they're doing right now. Why would they not take all of your First Amendment rights away? They are already chipping away at it now. I just talked to someone on my show a couple weeks ago, and she has to report to prison, federal prison, on October 16th and serve like 3 years because she dared have some sort of a protest event where she invited people to show up and they were praying outside of an abortion clinic. I mean, they're already doing it. Of course they're going to go after disinformation and misinformation. Of course they will.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. And they will have the left, just like the valiant cult members that they are, repeating after them as they walk off the cliff, one after the other, like sheep. They're going to be like, yes, we have to combat mis and disinformation. And because they're just so stupid, they're going to go along with it. They don't realize where that inevitably leads. And it's nowhere good.
No, that's how they get you on the train cars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
exactly right.
They don't say, hey, we're going to the gas chamber.
Right.
We're protecting you. We're taking care of you. We're going to get you back with your people, right? And
Yep.
Then I said, man, this room smells funny.
Yep.
That's the way it goes. And we got a call a few weeks ago from, I'm not even going to bring that topic up.
Oh. Oh.
Well, our friend that whose name was on the application for the rally on January 6th, they didn't put the organization's name; they put her personal name on there. And although she wasn't involved with any of the stuff like at the Capitol per se, her name is on the deal. And so she called us recently and said, hey, can I come stay with you? Because they're following me. And actually, we haven't heard from her in 3 weeks. I hope she's okay.
You might want to check in.
Yeah, I might need to check in. Because we were like, you know what? I don't think we got room. And before everybody
The inn is full.
People are like, where is your support from Patriots? I'm like, oh, I've housed a few of them. Trust me, during the no-knock raids, I have housed a few of them. So who knows?
Sadly.
Maybe I'll share. Yeah, maybe I'll share a cell with Elon.
Right.
You can't ever tell at this stage. But there's no going back. I mean, here's the thing, Sarah. The die is cast. What we have said, when I say we, me and you, like what people like me and you have said, we've said it. I mean, there's no going back on it. We're already on the list.
Yep.
And did you see last week they came out with a thing, and I want to see some of these lists where they said there's 400,000 far-right extremists in the country that they've got on the list. We're on it. We're on.
I would be so offended if I was not on
I better
it.
be on that damn list.
Every time they come out with one of those lists, especially when it's like the anti-LGBT, I'm like, if I am not on that list, I am not doing my job well enough. I better be on that list.
Well, that UK study came out a couple of years ago where it was the most anti-LGBT whatever people because of the use of the word groomer, and I was proud to be number 8 on the list.
Yeah.
I was so proud to be number 8 on that list. Come and get me, queer. So when Reagan and Carter, basically, it's both of their faults, when they emptied the mental institution, I think it started a generation of Democrats. And I think that's where the Democrat Party became really retarded and just went off the rails with super progressive libo Riri mentality. And they got together and they procreated and they came up with liberals and homeless people. So I'm like, and then let's get into this. So I don't know if Kamala, I don't know what happens, but I don't, you say that you think calmer heads will prevail. I don't know at this point. I don't know. I think there's some people who are just abjectly and absolutely pissed off, at everything in this country, and they're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm willing to die. I don't know.
I hope not.
I hope
I
not
mean,
too.
I will say this. I know that this is controversial to say, because I know that we get in the habit as we're always put on the defense by the leftists and the mainstream media. But I repeat myself on this because they say, "Oh, well, you're the side that's full of violence because you guys did the insurrection and you guys are violent extremists." And we're always on the defensive, going, "No, I would never be violent. I would never ever be violent. We should never be violent." I will just say our founding fathers did prescribe a certain time where you are supposed to overthrow the government. I'm just going to say, do I think that we're there yet? No.
Right.
But I'm just saying there should be a red line at a certain point. Should there not?
No, there should be, and I've said it over and over again. I think that that's when we start talking seriously about Texas secession and whoever wants
Right.
to go with us.
Right.
A convention of states, whatever you want to call it. But I think that's where we start getting serious about it because these people, to my point, they're already starting to brainwash people with the vocabulary of making them not trust the First Amendment anymore. We have to protect people.
Right.
Because, again, I want to remind everybody, if you haven't heard us say this, and Sarah and I both have said this, in a market of free ideas, and there is no such thing as hate speech. There is no such thing as misinformation. You combat that with critical thinking and common sense. It's up to you to discern. It's up to you. I mean, we have a spoon-fed, pablum-eating generation that does not understand alpha leadership. They can't. It doesn't compute. They can't take jokes, much less directives or mandates that matter. The absolutes of freedom, because liberty and freedom, they have certain absolutes. Truth is absolute. And so when you exchange truth for my truth or your truth, we've got a soft generation. So when they hear strong language from somebody like me or you, or a Donald Trump or Ted Cruz or some of these outspoken people, they don't know what to do with that. It becomes bullying in their mind. It reminds them of Daddy who put them in their room for timeout,
Right.
and they haven't forgiven him yet. So what happens if Trump is elected? And I personally foresee. You talked about Scott Pressler. I see some things happening in California. And does Trump win California? No. But I think there's some seats that could be flipped because I'm seeing some trends going on in California that are encouraging. If Trump's elected, and I want to hear your thoughts if you have them on that, but if Trump's elected, what do you think the response is going to be? Honestly, what do you think? I mean, because we're dealing with mentally ill people.
Yeah, they're going to melt down. They're going to go out in the streets. They're going to melt down. And while they're simultaneously telling you that you are the extremist, they will be causing total havoc and destruction in American cities. They're incapable of accepting that Donald Trump is not what they have painted him to be for years and years and years. Remember, these are people who have been told for a very long time that he is a threat to democracy, that he is literally Hitler. They've used all of this incendiary language, knowing this is what they do with these idiots. They know that they're mentally ill. They know that they are very quick they can't critically think. They know that these are the vulnerable people. And so what they do is they scare these people. They radicalize them into thinking all sorts of things. It's the same thing that they did with climate change. You have all of these radicalized young Americans who truly believe that we are going to die in, what is it, 5 years now? I don't know where we're at on the clock, but the earth is going to cease to exist because of what we are doing with our emissions. And they go to great lengths to try to prevent that from happening because they truly think that it's going to happen. It's the same thing with all of this rhetoric against Donald Trump. These people actually think the world's going to end because Donald Trump gets into office, which is funny because he was in office already for 4 years and we were actually quite good until COVID hit. So these are people that are incapable of critically thinking their way out of it. And they are going to be, I think there are a lot of them that are going to be actually scared because they're so dumb. They can't think their way through that. So I do think that there is going to be a lot of destruction.
Yeah. And why would Donald Trump end the world when he fully intends to have a love child with Laura Loomer? There's really,
Laura,
people.
he's joking, Laura.
Love child, never meant to be.
Kidding, Laura.
Love child. Yeah.
Yeah. I
love you, Laura.
And do you know what is just so silly and absurd about them feeling that way is it's like, what has Kamala? I just want to use Kamala's name at this point because she is part of the regime right now, and she is auditioning for top in command, right?
Yeah.
Like she's second in command now. She's auditioning for a promotion. So what has she done that has not made your life worse?
Let's think.
I can't think of anything.
Let's try to answer that question. Okay, Kamala Harris, she was a part of 164 bills as a California senator. None of those passed. She had a 28% approval rating just 2 weeks before she was nominated or placed as the Democratic candidate. What has she done? The border, nightmare. 5 times as many coming across. What has she done? What has she ever done?
Are your grocery bills higher or lower?
Right.
Is your gas higher or lower? Are you paying? How's your interest rates? Right? Like how's the housing situation? I can't think of a single thing. I mean, everything this regime has touched has gone to shit.
She definitely kept black men in prison longer than they were supposed to for smoking weed.
She did do that.
She put a lot of them. She put a lot of black men in prison, and I'm not saying that's a positive thing, especially if you're a black man who smokes weed. And then she withheld evidence for a guy who was on death row. So there was that. She's doing Howard Stern, so that's hard hitting. She did the Call Her Daddy podcast while people were getting bombarded with Hurricane Helene. How do Sarah, by the way, how do people have these big ass podcasts that I've never heard of? Maybe you and I should just start talking about sex or something.
Isn't that sad?
Which,
I know.
When I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that. If that's what we want to talk about.
I should have let you clarify. No, it is really sad that you can talk about just like the most degrading and depraved parts of culture, and you can really just attach yourself to that, and you can become really, really rich because it turns out there are a lot of young Americans who just want to hear about that, and that doesn't say anything good about our culture.
No, like I had to call my bank because somebody had gotten a hold of one of my debit cards and they were trying to use it, and so there was all these charges and then chargebacks. So this bank had done a good job of catching it, but they were so we still had to go through a bunch of transactions, and they were like, "Okay, this looks like this is OnlyFans," and I go, "That's me. That's 100% me. That one was me. I have some friends, influencer friends, that are on OnlyFans, and I like to support them. Okay, 100%.
Guilty. It's just for the support. I don't even look. I'm just helping.
I'm on OnlyFans for the articles." Just for the articles. I spend an hour. I just try to have a little me time in the bathroom for about an hour, with just reading pithy articles and jokes and satirical cartoons on OnlyFans. These are jokes, people. But no, that did happen. I was, oh God, so many places, and I know we got to go. But Sarah, I do think that there's a meltdown. I do think that there's some violence. I do think, she did the podcast. She's doing Howard Stern. She's doing The View, another more hard hitting. So when that was what a lot of people, the Krasenstein brothers, for instance, said, well, conservatives say that Kamala Harris is not willing to sit down with one-on-one interviews. Well, she got her ass handed to her on 60 Minutes. And my thing is, what I've been thinking about in recent days is, how she gives that glare, like she's pissed, like you could just tell when she's pissed. That glare doesn't work. I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking. That doesn't work with world leaders. That doesn't work with the Putins and the Xi Jinpings and the Ayatollahs and the, you can go bow to the Saudi princes, but that doesn't work. I mean, that might work with Justin Trudeau, but Justin Trudeau's not going to be contrarian with you.
Well, yeah, he's also a pansy, so he would, tolerate it. I mean, I think that, but part of that, Chad, I'll say the controversial thing. You don't have to, or you can.
Like I'm scared of it, but by all means, you say it.
Well, I don't know if you truly believe this, but I think that that's part of the reason that a woman should not be president in the first place. I just think
opinion.
that women, I know, but women are inherently, catty and have that type of I'm speaking. And you mentioned that's not going to go over well with world leaders and the world leaders that you mentioned. I mean, you're right. But I think another piece of that is they just don't respect women, period.
Right.
So they're not going to care what Kamala Harris has to say. And add on top of that, that she is not this is not strong leadership that we have right now in this regime. This is, in fact, very weak leadership. She can't answer a serious question without cackling. She can't answer a serious question without complete word salad.
Right.
No one is going to take her seriously when it comes to world leaders.
Right. Well, I go back to, and I'm not the brightest bulb. I'm not, but I can
You're
BS my
very
way through a
smart.
lot of things. But I do know when I ran for office, I knew the issues. Like I knew what was
Right.
what. There were a lot of things I didn't know about that I had to study. Like I didn't know a lot about our situation with property taxes. I didn't know, about a lot about our board of regents for our universities and colleges in Texas. I didn't know a lot about the certain economic things that were going on. I learned though. I dove in and I learned to the best of my ability, and I at least knew when to say I don't know on certain things.
Right.
But
Right.
she's clueless on this stuff. So
Well, and you're talking about like you were running for office, but you hadn't been in office yet. I mean, she's already there.
right,
And they're asking her who is our greatest adversary. And she's like, Iran.
yeah, yeah.
That's a little, I mean, with their weak military right now, with their weak, economy,
Well,
Iran?
exactly,
Really?
and I mean, you look at Hamas. I mean, Hamas has been virtually eradicated by IDF, and
Mhm.
Hezbollah has reared its ugly head. Which I mean, you leave Israel alone long enough, and I don't care what people think about Israel; they'll take care of that shit. And listen, I'm not a huge fan of Israel either, but whatever. I'm not a huge fan of our government, so don't get me started on Israel.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
the
mean, I,
point
I
is,
think,
the
yeah, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was just gonna say the point is Trump had Iran on the ropes. I mean, they were done for,
Exactly.
and they
Exactly
breathed
right.
life back into them. What were you gonna say?
Well, I would add to that as well. It's interesting to hear Kamala Harris say that in one breath, they're our greatest adversary. I would ask then why we gave them billions of dollars.
Yeah, right. Pallets of
Seems like a
cash.
bad decision, right?
Pallets of cash.
So,
So,
yeah.
well, let's just say that no matter who gets into office, I think it's going to be bad. Now, I mean, as far as
Mhm.
the reactions. Now, I think that Trump, if they'll let him do his thing, we'll get some positive reactions pretty quick. I think the stock market, I think the real estate market, I think the economy will respond. I
Mhm.
think I think we're going to see some prices come down. I think we'll see inflation start to get under control. I think people will get some confidence back in the markets.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Yeah.
it's just a natural thing that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be just like it was last time. The leftists had their little meltdowns. They acted like the world was going to end, and then they realized, "Oh, actually, this is, like, pretty cool. This is
Yeah.
a gas is, what was it, like, $1.80 or something, when he left office. Like, my life is kinda nice. We have jobs. So I think that will be, they'll throw their temper tantrum and their little pity party, and then they're gonna have to move on with their lives, and then they're gonna be forced to admit, maybe to themselves and no one else, "Oh, I guess it isn't so bad under Donald Trump, just
Yeah.
like last time."
So go vote. Take people to vote. Get people registered to
Mhm.
vote. October 7th, which I think by the time this airs, we've already passed it, haven't we? So yep, we have. At the time of this taping,
Well, hope you registered.
hope you registered. Yesterday was the final day to register to vote in the state of Texas. We're taping this on the 8th. You can do math. So yeah, go vote. Take people with
Yeah.
you to the polling place. I'm curious, and this is the last question. Last question. How many people do you think will go into the voting booth and they'll secretly put Donald Trump?
I fully believe that will happen, a lot.
Yeah.
I think that and because you're already seeing anecdotally, of course, you're seeing that there are more Trump signs. I'm hearing, especially in swing states, there are way more Trump signs in people's neighborhoods than there were the previous election. People are a lot more willing to show their support for Trump. So if that's the case, then you have to also believe that there are still a lot of people who are scared to wade into the political division conversation, but are definitely going to go in there. They're going to step in the ballot box and they're going to say, is my life better in the last 4 years under Kamala Harris's term? They're going to have to admit to themselves that it's not. And they won't have to face any scrutiny from their friends. They won't have to answer to anyone, and they will pick Donald Trump on the ballot. I do think that there is going to be a lot of that.
All right. Well, your lips to God's ears. The show is Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, and her new best-selling book, Heartbroken, My Secret Tryst with Chad Prather, is out right now.
Like, what?
I heard a book review
The
the other
forward
day.
The forward is written by Chad Prather. It's weird.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard someone talking about the book the other day on Breitbart, and they did say Chad Prather. So it plausible deniability.
It's another guy I know. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there'll be people out there looking for that damn book. And I will say about Sarah's show as well as my show, go and leave a review, leave a 5-star rating. We both deserve that. You are my favorite human. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Where else can people find you? Where do they need to follow? What do they need to go do?
Yeah, all of social media, Instagram, Twitter, well, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Sara Gonzales TX, and as Chad pointed out, it's SARA. And there is an S at the end of Gonzales as well, TX. You can find me all over social media.
So many nuances to your name.
I know. They changed our name. It was with a Z at the end, Gonzales, and they changed it when my grandparents entered. So
weird shit happens in El Paso, man. They start taking liberties with your names, trying to church it up.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I love you. And don't jump off of here
too.
just yet. I have other things to say to you, but not where other people can hear it.
Okay.
Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, I love you so much. Go back to homeschooling your kid. For the rest of you, thank you. Share and follow and promote the hell out of it. Don't you think Sarah and I need a show full time? I think we do. I think we need to come up with a fun name, and it just needs to be Chad and Sarah, Sarah and Chad. I would never put my name in front of yours, ever, ever, ever. I don't think you should have the right to vote, but I don't think I would put my name in front of yours. Okay, let's just be clear. Okay. I don't want you as president, but you can have you. I will give you deference in the titling.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay.
For the rest of y'all, we want to hear from you. We love you. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.